I had this bond with her, and I'm now questioning, why tell me that you want to have a relationship with me and then ghost me for months and months and months?
Meri is starting to question her entire relationship with Robyn in the latest episode of Sister Wives.
Feels like the only time you talk to them is when they need something or when you need to give them information. So,
I mean, obviously I'm in a different place. I'm moving forward with my life. I don't need to focus on healing a relationship, but I would.
You'd be the only one.
But I would be the only one. And that's how it always was, or for, not always, but for many years before, I was the only one. I had this bond with her, and I'm now questioning, why tell me that you want to have a relationship with me and then ghost me for months and months and months? Why, when COVID is happening and I'm following all the rules, do I not get to go over to your house and see your kids? Why do you not want to come over to my house for the kids to play outside in the yard?
Jen also started to tell Meri some things about Robyn that got her thinking everything may not be what it appears.
I'm cautious because I don't think it was like intentional manipulation.
I don't
really
either.
I do think that Cody decided that he had this new person that was like this new insider with him.
The new shiny toy.
Yeah. And that it just became them against everybody else. And then she'd act like she was your best friend and then completely ignore you and hurt your feelings. Like, that's really up. Like, either be an asshole or don't.
I know that mine and Robyn's relationship was a good one, and I felt very solid in it. Like, we were very close. And then it started, there was a divide.
I always had Meri's back, even when people were plotting against her, ignoring her, and I never felt a divide. Other than when she moved, that was when things changed. She changed it after that. But I always cared.
And turns out Robyn has tried to hang out with Meri since the split.
Soon after Meri moved, I reached out to her and I said, the next time you're in town, let's hang out. Let's go do something. And she very directly said, I don't know how to be friends with my ex-husband's wife. And that was really hard for me. It was really difficult for me because I was like, sister-wife relationship is more tough than this.
At that point, I did not know how to be a friend with my ex-husband's wife. You know what I mean? And I think that there are a lot of conversations that we would have to have before we did that. I'm not convinced that she would be fully honest with me. And I'm not convinced that the things I would say to her, she would be very happy with.
But ultimately, does Meri even want to have a relationship with Robyn?
Part of me does kind of grieve the relationship that we had because she was a good friend, or at least I thought she was. And so part of me grieves that part, that I thought that we were really close. But then other stuff, you know, through the years since then makes me just like, but were we though? Like, because if we were, we should have been able to stick it out. She probably feels a lot of grief and pain about this demise of our relationship, just me and her. Like, I feel that too. There's a lot of anger and pain and grief involved in it. I don't know right now. And I'm not saying that there couldn't be trust built. It would have to take a lot of hard conversations.
Yeah.
It would have to take some hard conversations because there's a lot of history.
As Meri questions her relationship with Robyn, Janelle is starting a new chapter by moving to North Carolina.
Talking with Janelle, she seems really excited about moving there and getting going on her flower place and starting fresh.
So right now the plan is that I'm going to move with Maddie. They've kind of redone a room above the garage for me. We've made an offer and that has been accepted on the land that we want. And as soon as that closes, then we'll start to build.
While driving there, Christine reflected on some issues in her marriage with Cody.
David has a story of his sister that lived polygamy, and he remembers like waking up to screaming, and his sister and her sister wife, and they were fighting over who got the better stereo. And when he told the story, he's like, that's just plain ridiculous. I'm like, I lived that life. I felt like Robyn had a better couch. I felt like she had better like dishes and better decorations and like so many things.
And I'd be like, why am I left with all these scraps all the time? Scraps of time, scraps of stuff.
Well, when a relationship is united, you don't tend to keep score as much because you've got a cloak of charity to put over this person that you love.
If you're sitting there constantly using that scoreboard against each other, what are you, enemies?
Babe, there were so many times in my marriage with Cody where he liked makeup. It was like you had to always look nice. It mattered to him so much.
In a confessional, Cody and Robyn weighed in on how the family dynamic was.
Here's the thing, me and my first 3 wives, we would hunker down and get along enough to survive. It didn't ever feel like I was not in the doghouse with somebody.
Yeah, I felt like when the family was together, there was unfair fighting that was happening for sure, yeah. Hitting below the belt, jumping to conclusions, name calling. That is a big part of the family falling apart was there's just so little trust with each other. So sad.
And Robyn admitted it might not have been the best thing to use the word soulmate with Cody.
So I think maybe it's probably okay if you're my soulmate, but not okay if I'm yours.
Yeah.
In our work, well, you know, because of, you know, other
I get it.
other people in your life.
Yeah.
Like, I had never been married in a plural family before. I realized that it really wasn't a fair thing to say because Cody has other wives.
During the episode, Janelle also saw the land she purchased for the first time.
So we just went forward. Maddie saw it. She sent us all kinds of video. So at this point, Maddie's the only one who's actually physically been on the property. I've never seen it. I'm really worried. Like, what if it's like totally snake infested? What if it's like, I don't know. What if it's not cool? I put all my money into this sight unseen.
Once she got to the land, she admitted she's really writing on this to work.
I anticipate that the first 5 years are going to be hella hard work. Like a lot of work. We got to put in the infrastructure. We got to clear the trees. We got to get our own garden, our own livestock, everything going. Plus, we got to get all the business stuff going. It's going to be so much work, but it's going to be so worth it. If I think about it, it's kind of scary because, like, I've really put all my proverbial eggs in one basket. Like, this has to work. But financially, everything is riding on this farm working out. So I have to make this work. I have to make this work.
Meanwhile, Cody is getting ready to baptize Aurora into a new church.
She gets into this tub and, like, Cody talks in her ear.
I just whispered the baptismal prayer in her ear. I very respectfully threw back to my beliefs with her baptism. I wanted to feel that I was covering the ground for what I believe and for what Aurora and her congregation that she shares this belief with believe.
She comes up and she's just like big smile, tons of joy. She's just beaming. And they just sort of like, yay, Aurora, and all this stuff. I'm like, yeah, she's cool, huh?